Yeah, this particular paddock over here, it's got a fair bit of growth in it. It is perhaps slightly undergrazed. I have had 800 sheep in here up until about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, the sheep tend to preferentially graze in that particular type. They'll take out things like the more palatable species, the lucerne first. Tall wheatgrass they quite like, but they'll only eat the green leaves down the bottom. You'll still get the dry seed head on there if you allow your tall wheatgrass to run up that high. I quite often do that so I can harvest the seed. So it's a bit of a compromise, whether you chew it right down or let it run up. Some of the other plant stands have got the old man saltbush in. One of the issues with that is because it's fairly tall, if you want to spread fertiliser in there, run a boom spray over it, it's a bit of an issue. It could be managed by either slashing those bushes lower or grazing it harder, trying not to let them get above sheep height, which some of these have.
So Glenn, you were saying that you like to let it go to run up to seed like that and go a little bit more. I suppose you could call it build up more, bulk up more when it's in its establishment phase. After a couple of years, you're more comfortable about hitting it harder. Is that right? Or
yeah, that's pretty right. The first year, well, it'll be grazed from year one. But yeah, I suppose after 2 or 3 years of establishment, it's well established. But as I said before, it's a compromise. I like having a bit of height in it for my lambing ewes, for wind protection. I can get some seed off it, but once it gets to 2 or 3 years down the track, it gets grazed as hard as the paddock we're standing in. So it gets grazed. You know, the tall wheat grass in here are only very, very short. But once the tall wheat grass is run to seed, sheep won't eat those seed stalks. They've got next to no feed value in it. But they do slow the wind down. If you go and lie down in the paddock out there, it's quite still.
So Glenn, the decision to remove sheep, is that based on the lucerne or the tall wheatgrass? Is there one sort of key species that you look at when you remove the sheep?
Not necessarily. If I want to just graze the lucerne in it, I'll put them in for just a few days and let them eat the lucerne out, and they won't touch anything else because they'll target that lucerne. So no, it's not based entirely on the lucerne. The lucerne there's only a small quantity of lucerne in there. I know it'll get grazed out over a period of time, but by then it's done its job. It's drawn down the water table. So hopefully, if you had a look at this in 8 years' time, you'd walk out there and you'd see lots of clover and ryegrass, and the tall wheat grass will still be there, but probably looking more like the paddock we're standing in. It'll be, the clumps will be further apart. It'll thin out over a period of time, but it maintains a balance, and it's holding that water down in that time.